Taylor from Tailored Expressions, and today I'm so excited to show you one of my very favorite collections in our catalog of dies. It's called Build-A-Scene. Now, our Build-A-Scene dies are specifically designed to all coordinate together, and they fit perfectly on a card front. We have everything from mountaintops and rolling hills to houses and sea life, so there are tons of options for creating scenes on all of your card projects. Now, many of our Build-A-Scene dies are designed to be layered together, and layering these die cuts really adds dimension to your scene and gives you the flexibility to make any scene as simple or as complex as you want it to be. Now, here's a card that I'll be making today to show you how to use these layering die cuts to create that dimension on your card. We have our Build-A-Scene Rolling Waves dies. Now, I chose these particular dies to make this project because I could create a scene with these waves, layering them together to add dimension. Now, when you receive these dies, they will come tabbed together. You can see the tabs right here. And what you need to do is just bend them until they break apart, or if you're having a little trouble with the bending, you can grab our snips here, our wire snips, and you just snip off the little pieces until they all come apart. After you separate your dies, you need to choose which you want to use for your layered project. Now, if I show you what I used on my card and we flip these dies over, you can see this is the one I used on the bottom here. And then this one is the one I used on the top. So these are the two dies we're going to be using to create this project, and I'm going to bring in my Big Shot machine next and we're going to cut these layers. Now, what I would suggest you do is if you know the size of the project you want to make, go ahead and pre-cut your pieces. That will make it a little bit easier for you. Now, if you don't know what size you want your finished piece to be, you just make it as big as you think you might want it to be, and then you can always cut it down from there. So what we're going to do is take one of our pieces and one of our dies. We're just going to put that die up there at the top. Now, if you feel more comfortable, you can always hold that in place with some Scotch removable tape as you send that through your die cut machine. So there we have our first layer, and then we're going to take our second piece of paper, which is exactly the same size, and our second die, and again put it right about in the same spot at the top, making sure that those ends overlap the cardstock, because that's going to help you get that to cut off. And we're just going to roll that through our die cut machine. Now, once you have your two layers, it's time to fit them together to create this scene. I'm just going to move this machine out of the way. So here are the two layers we're left with. And again, here's the project we're creating. So I have my card front already pre-cut, this lighter blue piece. And what you're going to do next is take your top layer, just hold it in place about where you want that to hit on your card. Then if you have a pencil or some sort of writing instrument to make your mark with, I'm just going to mark it with a pencil, take my paper cutter and trim off that excess piece at the bottom. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second piece. So you can see that fits there with a nice even border all the way around the outside. Now we have our second piece, and we're just going to layer that over the top. Just move it to the side slightly so you can see where that piece ends. Go ahead and mark it again so that they end right in the same spot. And we're going to take our paper trimmer and cut that off. So there you have the two pieces that layer together, and what we're going to do is just adhere those together. I like to use this Scotch adhesive dot runner. It sticks really well, and it's nice and easy to use. And in order to create even more dimension on our project, we're going to take this layer and pop it up with foam tape. I have just our foam tape roll here. These are great because you can choose how much tape you want to use. There's 25 yards on a roll of this, so it's going to last you for a long time. I'm just going to cut 4 pretty large pieces there, put them on the back. Take the adhesive backing off. And then we're going to put that down over our project with a nice even border around the bottom and the sides of the card. So in order to put together the rest of our card, I have some pieces already die cut. I've showed you our Scotch adhesive dot roller that I like to use on larger pieces. Now, when you have some smaller pieces, like these little pieces of seaweed from our Build-A-Scene underwater set, these have really fine lines, and sometimes if you try to use a runner on them, it can rip the pieces, or you might get a lot of extra adhesive on there that you don't need that ends up sticking out of your project. So what I found that I really like to use is this fine line applicator. I use the standard tip. It also comes in a smaller tip as well. But you can see it has that really tiny tip at the top, and it just squeezes out of that small tip. And you can put that all over those tiny spots in your die cuts. These work great for our cutting plates too, because it gives you just the right amount of adhesive without giving you a lot of mess. And the other great thing about this adhesive is that the applicator itself comes empty, and you can choose your favorite adhesive to put inside the applicator. So once it runs out, you just squeeze some more glue inside. I like to use the Best Glue Ever inside here, but really whatever your favorite liquid glue is, you can put inside this applicator. I'm just going to take the rest of our seaweed pieces and put them on this project, and then we'll be ready to finish it off. Okay, so after we have our seaweed placed, we're going to go ahead and put our crab and our sentiment on. I've got some foam tape on the back of here so that we can get even more dimension on our project. We're just going to put Mr. Crab in the middle of our scene. And then this is one of my favorite sentiments. Sorry, I was a little crabby. We can probably all think of somebody who deserves that at one point or another. So we're just going to put that on the little banner stacklets 1 it's stamped on. Now that we have our scene all completed, we're going to use our adhesive dot runner around the outside there and just glue that down to our card base. So there you go. Wasn't that super easy? I hope you learned something new today and you're feeling inspired to give Build-A-Scene layering die cuts a try on your next project. Our Build-A-Scene collection includes lots of different layering sets of dies, all of which you can find in the Tailored Expressions store at tailoredexpressions.com. Thanks for connecting with us today. Happy stamping!